The awakening was a slow process, a gradual ascent from an abyss of darkness into an indistinct penumbra. Commander Eva Rostova first felt the cold, a shiver that ran through her bones, followed by a sensation of crushing weight, as if time itself had solidified upon her. Fragmented memories of Earth, a vibrant blue planet, swirled in her mind. The smell of rain in the Amazon rainforest, the warmth of the Mediterranean sun, her younger sister's laughter. 500 years. 500 years of cryogenic sleep, a frigid bridge across the void, toward a new home. The promise of a bright future, of a new Eden among the stars, was what had sustained her. Every cell in her body seemed to protest the return to consciousness, but the discipline forged in years of space service prevailed.
The systems of the Erebus, the mothership, hummed softly around her, a chorus of machines awakening. It wasn't just any hum, but a symphony of high technology, designed to sustain life and hope for half a millennium. Blue and green lights pulsed on the control panels, illuminating the bridge's interior with a futuristic glow, indicating the gradual reactivation of every critical subsystem. Beside her, Dr. Aris Thorne, the chief scientist, opened his eyes with a groan, his thin-rimmed glasses still on his face, a testament to the haste with which they had been put on before hibernation. He was the brain behind the mission, the visionary who had mapped the stars and dreamed of Kepler 186f. Engineer Kaelen, younger and with an almost youthful resilience, was already on her feet, checking the monitors with intense concentration, her fingers dancing across the holographic keyboards. She represented the new generation, born with space in their DNA.
Reactivation status? Eva's voice was hoarse, an echo from a distant past, still adjusting to the ship's artificial gravity. Nearly complete, Commander. Life support systems are stable, propulsion, navigation, all green. We are in the Kepler 186f sector, just a few light years from our destination. The journey was nominal, no significant deviations or anomalies. Kaelen replied, her voice laden with a mixture of weariness and contained excitement. The goal of their lives, the promise of a new beginning for humanity, was within their grasp, almost tangible. Aris, now more alert, adjusting his glasses, his eyes scanning the data Kaelen presented. Any communication from Earth, Kaelen? They must be eager for news. 500 years is a long time to maintain silence. He expected a flood of messages, welcomes, instructions for the final phase of the mission. A heavy silence fell over the bridge, a silence that seemed to absorb the soft hum of the systems. Kaelen hesitated, her eyes fixed on a monitor displaying a radio wave graph, a flat, monotonous line. That's the strange part, Doctor. No response. We tried the emergency channels, the long-range frequencies, the intergalactic communication protocols. Nothing. Just static. An absolute void. Her voice, once animated, now carried a tone of apprehension. Eva felt a chill that didn't come from cryosleep, but from a dark premonition. Static for 500 years? That's unusual, unacceptable. Activate the long-range sensors for Earth orbit. I want a full scan, maximum priority. Aris, start analyzing any data Kaelen can pull. We need answers, and we need them now. The urgency in her voice was a reflection of the growing fear in her chest. The minutes stretched into an eternity. The bridge of the Erebus, designed to be a beacon of hope, a sanctuary of technology and life, now felt like a silent tomb, its occupants trapped in an agonizing wait. Eva watched the distant stars through the main viewport, each point of light a reminder of the universe's relentless vastness. Earth, her home, her starting point, was just a tiny, almost invisible speck, 500 light years away. A beacon that should have been shining, but now seemed to have gone dark. Suddenly, a soft alarm sounded, a discreet beep that resonated like thunder in the tense silence. Kaelen paled, her eyes wide and fixed on the monitor. Commander, I'm receiving data, But it's not what we expected. It's anomalous. Aris leaned over the console, his nimble fingers typing commands, his scientific mind struggling to process the information beginning to materialize. Images started to appear on the main screen. They weren't the familiar images of Earth, with its green continents and blue oceans, its white clouds swirling in an eternal ballet. Instead, there was a field of debris, a cloud of rock and dust spinning in a chaotic orbit where a planet once existed. The vibrant blue had been replaced by a ghostly gray, speckled with incandescent fragments, like scars from a cosmic wound. What is this? Kaelen's voice was a horrified whisper, barely audible over the ship's hum. She couldn't tear her eyes away from the screen, the scene of devastation burning into her retinas. Aris, his face twisted into a mask of disbelief and dread, typed more commands, zooming in on the images, analyzing the chemical composition, the density, the spectral signature. No, it can't be. The spectral signature is of a rocky planet, fragmented. The mass is consistent with Earth's, but there is no Earth. There's nothing left. His voice failed on the last word, the brutal reality overwhelming his scientific logic. Eva felt the floor vanish beneath her feet, the ship's artificial gravity seeming to fail. The image of that debris field burned into her mind, replacing the memories of her home, her family, everything she had ever known. Earth. Destroyed. There was no home to return to. There was no one left to greet them. The 500-year mission, the promise of a future, had transformed into a one-way trip to a past that no longer existed, toward a future that seemed to have been stolen. A sepulchral silence filled the bridge, broken only by the distant hum of the ship's systems, which now sounded like a lament. The crew, the last remnants of humanity, stared at the screen, at the ghost of their home. The shock was palpable, denial a fragile barrier against the overwhelming truth. Eva felt a solitary tear trace a path down her cheek, warm and salty, a silent tribute to a lost world, to a civilization that had vanished. "No signs of life," Aris finally said, his voice choked with pain and incredulity. "No transmissions, no artificial structures, just dust and residual radiation. An explosion of catastrophic proportions. There are no survivors." Grief settled in, heavy and suffocating, like a cosmic shroud. Each member of the crew, in their own corner of the bridge, processed the news differently. Some curled in on themselves, others stared blankly into the void, as if they could reverse time by sheer force of will. Eva, the commander, felt the weight of every life aboard, every hope placed upon her. They were the last humans alive. The responsibility was crushing, a burden that threatened to shatter her. In the days that followed, the Erebus became a ghost ship, laden with an unspeakable sorrow. The routine was maintained, but without the luster, without the purpose that had once driven every action. The corridors, once full of conversation and laughter, now echoed only with the sound of solitary footsteps. Tormenting internal dialogues plagued Eva. What is the point now? For whom were we building a future? To whom do we owe our loyalty? The image of her sister, waving from the launch platform, returned to haunt her, a ghost from a past that would never return. Everyone was gone. She felt like the last sentinel of a fallen empire.
Aris, the scientist, buried himself in the data, searching for an explanation, a shred of hope, a flaw in their calculations, anything that could deny the reality before them. Kaelen, the engineer, kept the ship running, a mechanical act of survival, but her eyes revealed a profound disorientation, a loss of direction. Subtle conflicts began to emerge among the crew. Some suggested turning back, wandering through space until the fuel ran out, accepting a fate of slow annihilation. Others, more desperate, spoke of giving up, of accepting the end, of finding a way to end the pain. Eva knew she could not allow this. Leadership now was more than just guiding a ship.
It was about preserving the very essence of humanity, the memory of a world that had been. She gathered the crew in the conference room, the gloomy atmosphere reflecting everyone's mood, their faces pale and etched with pain. The silence was almost unbearable. "I know what you are feeling," she began, her voice firm but laden with emotion, each word weighing like lead. "I feel it too. The loss is immeasurable. Earth is gone. Our families, our friends, our history, our culture, all of it has turned to stardust. It is a void that can never be filled."
She paused, allowing her words to settle, letting the raw, naked truth be absorbed. But we are not. We are here. And as long as one of us is breathing, humanity is not extinct. Our original mission was to colonize Kepler 186f, to create a new home. Now that mission is not just colonization. It is our only chance. It is humanity's chance to continue, to rewrite its history, to prove that life always finds a way. Aris, who was sitting in the front row, lifted his head, his eyes fixed on Eva, a spark of something new kindling in his gaze. "Commander, the ship's resources, they were designed for a supported colony, not for a long-term survival arc. We will have to adapt everything. It will be a monumental, unprecedented challenge." "And we will," Eva replied, looking at every face in the room, at every lost and hopeful soul. "We are the last, and with that comes a responsibility none of us asked for, but one we must accept. We cannot give up. We cannot let the flame die out here, in the middle of the void, millions of miles from a home that no longer exists." Kaelen, who had remained silent, absorbing every word, raised her hand, her voice stronger now. "Commander, if we are going to do this, we will need more than just keeping the ship running. We will need a purpose, something to build, a new dream." "We need hope," Eva agreed, a faint smile appearing on her lips, the first in days. "And hope lies at Kepler 186f. It lies within each of us. We are no longer colonists. We are the guardians, the last guardians of the human flame, the sowers of a new tomorrow."
The decision was made. The Erebus was no longer just a ship. It was an ark, a sanctuary, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. The crew, though still marked by grief, found a new purpose. They adapted the ship's systems, transforming cargo bays into hydroponic greenhouses, reconfiguring laboratories for sustainability research, optimizing every gram of resource. Every tightened bolt, every line of code written, every seed planted was an act of faith in the future, a silent prayer for survival. Months passed. The Erebus continued its journey, a lone star in a sea of darkness, its hull reflecting the light of distant suns. The sadness never completely disappeared, but it was replaced by a quiet determination, a resilience forged in adversity. The memories of Earth, once painful, became a reminder of what they were fighting to preserve, the legacy they carried. They were the last, yes, but they were also the first of a new era. Somewhere ahead, Kepler 186f awaited, a green and promising point of light, a new cradle for humanity. And the Erebus, carrying the last vestige of humankind, pressed on, not toward a return, but toward a new beginning. The journey was, indeed, one of no return, but the destination was now hope itself, the promise that life, no matter how fragile, always finds a way to bloom again.